Kobe, I was curious.
No, yeah, I get
Marcel
that.
and I touched on this. In terms of villains, what do you think of the revealed villains so far? Do you think that they're lackluster as well, or are you impressed with the lineup?
Nah, I'm not impressed. I mean, it's just it's a little uninspired. I think we're using a lot of the villains that we have seen in prior games, and I would have really liked to. Obviously, Court of Owls is a new villain group, obviously, but um, yeah, Batman's Rogues Gallery is just so expansive and it's so varied that um, I don't even know exactly who I would want to see in here that's not. But yeah, I mean, am I really like super excited for
Oh, by
Clayface?
the
Not
way,
really.
they confirmed Joker's dead. They confirmed he's
Dang.
dead. Like somebody in the previews were like, Joker's dead. I'm like, really? So all the major big players are all dead. That's uninspired too. It's just, oh, let's just kill them off. Like there's no like interesting way to get rid of them.
Well, and again, going back to this like canceled Damian Wayne Batman game that, as we discussed, has heavily influenced what this game ended up being. I get that to some extent, but one thing that was really cool about that game is that they had like these really, really obscure, weird villains. Now, the one that I would say probably is the coolest is Professor Pig. That he's heavily involved. That's pretty cool because we didn't get to see a whole lot of him in the Arkham games. Man Bat again, they kill him at the beginning. A little disappointing. Would like to see more of him. And yeah, Clayface, whatever. Mr. Freeze, maybe, but Mr. Freeze again was done. He's been done so well so many times from the animated series to the Arkham games that part of me wonders how much they can actually do here that's better than what has been done in
He's
the
a
past.
giant spider now. He's a giant
Yeah,
spider now. Isn't
Yeah,
that fun? Isn't that interesting? He's a giant spider.
yeah.
I'd like to
Um.
see them do the Judge. That was the Two-Face persona from.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's who I'd put in, but
No,
I
I want
doubt
them
that
to
will be the
do the
case.
old ass white rabbit. The old ass white
Yeah.
rabbit with the saggy
Grandma
titties.
White Rabbit.
Yes, dude, and running around beating her ass as like Batgirl or something. That'd be so fun.
That actually would be badass, to be honest.
I
So
feel like
yeah,
Kite
I
Man
don't
would have been a
know.
fun one for Nightwing, for like a Nightwing glider slide mission.
Right. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about the villains, though.
I think as
I
I
think they're
think
they're
yeah,
uninspired.
I'm interested in some of them. Like you mentioned, I think it will be cool if there's more to Man Bat than we see at the very beginning there. I'm interested in what they're doing with the Court of Owls, of course. I think the thing with the Court of Owls is like, I think that they really were anticipating the Court of Owls being enough to carry the game. And I think that could be
Hmm.
true based on how they're handled. But with that being said, like, I mean, we've been talking about a Court of Owls Batman game since what, 2016. So I think that it's kind of lost its like, like originality at this point. Like it's something where even though we haven't played the game, it's been talked about for so long that I kind of already feel like I've gotten the like internet culture surrounding like what that would be and what it would entail. And it's kind of the same way that like the militia of Arkham Knight, like that, there's no way that can carry the whole game. It's like, yeah, it's a cool aspect to that game, but I don't know. I like the Court of Owls has so many like individuals that are part of it, but like it still kind of only counts as one rogue out of the gallery. And I don't know. I
What I
just
think
like to see more.
what I think they did was, you remember those logos that they revealed, like they were showing the multiple logos that might have been like multiple factions for the groups and the villains.
Yeah.
What I think they realized is that a few of them, no spoilers involved, but they could have been spoilers for the game, and they're like, oh shit, we can't reveal those, that reveals too much of the story, and then they backed out last minute, and then they're
It
like, fuck, shit, what do we do for this marketing, what do we do,
okay.
what do
It
we
it
do, and
does
they
it
just started
does seem
releasing
like they've
gameplay and shit.
I can agree that it seems like they've switched gears for the marketing about 3 times because it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, they did the logos and it was like capture the night hashtag, and then it's like they went quiet for a year and then they came back and it was like, we're going to reveal all the factions slowly. And then like they scratched that. They've
Yep.
shown us the Court of Owls and then it's like, here's a few other cool villains that are in the game. Enjoy. And then, yeah, so I don't know. Like, and that's I think why it's been so hard for even people who've played some of the game to really gauge what it is. Because again, like with Spider-Man, when they did previews for that, it was like, yeah, I remember like, the people coming back being like, yeah, like got to fight Shocker, got to like go through the art museum mission, got to like see Peter and MJ's dynamic, got, like, even though don't know any of the spoilers of the game, it's like, yeah, I can tell you like what the story was feeling like. And yep, it felt well paced. And we just don't have any intel at all on like what happens in the story or like, I don't, it's so bizarre. Like the way that I kind of did an analogy in the last Nightcast episode with Marcel was I said it would kind of be like if they marketed Spider-Man based on like, yeah, you can dress like punk Spider-Man and use his electric guitar. Isn't that cool? And then like don't really show his web swinging and don't really show the story, but like, just show like, oh yeah, there's a Tombstone side mission. Like we wouldn't get enough of an idea to know if the game is even good. And I think that's where Gotham Knights is.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like based off of even Suicide Squad's trailers, we know more about that main story and seeing
Yeah.
more of like fun little story beats. We know like all of not well, we don't we know all of the villains, but we know like all the Justice League members that we might fight. But in this game, it's like it's been a mystery until like 7 months ago. And the
Yeah.
game has been marketed since like 2019. And that whole factions thing that they did was what they did to reveal the game. They were teasing those faction logos as part of the reveal for during like Batman Day when they were about to do the reveal at Fandom. And they just completely scrapped that for like no reason. And it's just so shocking that they've done that about 3 different times for the marketing. So honestly, I am confused about what the main story is, but I really, really hope it's good. I hope what they have is like really interesting for the Court of Owls and whatever
Yeah.
other villain that they have introduced within that, because that's I feel like that's the only thing that's gonna save this game. And they haven't shown any of it, which could be really nice because it could be just completely all shocking. But at the same time, it's like we don't really know.
I think, though, again, to your point, that we know so little about the story, which could actually be a very positive thing because this game is going to
Mhm.
live or die by positive word of mouth. It just is. In terms of the concoction of dynamics that the game has going for it, from the villains to the heroes in the game to the plot more broadly. They're fighting with Court of Owls, obviously like a new villain group that doesn't have a lot of hardcore fans like the Joker. Um, it's Batman sidekicks who are not nearly as beloved on the mass scale as Batman. It's developed by a studio with less credibility than other studios. So what this game is banking on is positive word of mouth. And the Arkham games, when they came out, they got like all 9s out of 10s. I would be shocked if this game gets that high in terms of a rating. But if there's some secrets and wild cards that they have up their sleeve to get the type of positive buzz where it's, think about The Last of Us 2 and when that game came out, and there was so much buzz around it because it wasn't even like people were saying the game is great. In fact, half of the people were saying it was shit and that it was, they hated it. But everybody was talking about it. Everybody was debating it on Twitter. Everybody was going back and forth. It was like, I can't believe they did this, can't believe they did that, whatever. And this game is banking on something similar, is that I think that they have to bank on there's some wild card in the story, something that's going to incite a lot of debate and frankly piss some fans off and excite some fans, and some twists and turns that we haven't revealed yet, um, to get that positive word of mouth. Where again, I don't even think it has to be necessarily positive, but it's more just like, oh my gosh, have you played Gotham Knights? And the more that people are asking their friends that question, hey, have you played Gotham Knights? That's the better they fare from a marketing perspective. If the reviews are all, oh, this game's a 7 out of 10, it's kind of what we expected. The story pretty much plays out exactly as you would have thought. Um, and all the villains that you see are in the trailers, and that's kind of that. Then I do think that they're in a little bit of trouble from a marketing perspective. So That's really where I stand on the game, is that I want to see what surprises they have in store for us with the story. Because again, I'm perfectly fine to play a game that has average gameplay. Whether it's a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 in terms of gameplay, I'd probably give it like a 7 from what I'm seeing. If the story is fantastic, it can easily compensate for that and pull it up to a 9 out of a 10 game. And you frankly never know. You never know if this game, for instance, look at Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
That game had a really compelling story, and everybody said, you know what? The gameplay wasn't that incredible in that game, objectively speaking. But you know what? The story is so moving. These character dynamics are really compelling in the game, much more so than an average superhero video game. So that game got like all 8s and 9s. And that's something that could happen here if they really pull off the dynamics between the 4 heroes in the game. You might actually see critics give it favorable reviews.
Like
Yeah.
I'm saying, they need to chop up Bruce Wayne in the first 5 minutes of the game, and boom.
Well, dude, but they did that in Arkham Knight too, where they're like, first scene, burn the Joker alive, and then I feel like that would
Yeah.
just
This
be
is how
it would
Batman
be like a
died.
false flag.